I know it's pretty common to joke about things like,
I'm pretty, so nothing matters.
but the problem is, this kind of mindset reflects a very obvious and present truth in our society. Being pretty or conventionally attractive makes everything that much easier. Have you ever wondered if a situation would have turned out differently had it not happened to a very attractive rich person? Had they been less attractive, had they not worn the same expensive clothing, would they have been given the same benefits? My answer is, I don't know, but I do know that the expensive clothing and pretty makeup does play a little part in how a lot of things turn out. What is pretty privilege? It's a term that has been floating around on social media quite a lot these past few years, but what does it actually mean?
According to Google, pretty privilege operates on the principle that people who are more conventionally attractive based on societal beauty standards have more advantages and opportunities compared to people who are deemed less attractive.
It's a pretty apparent problem, but it's so normalized. You might not even notice that pretty privilege is playing a part in a situation solely because it's nothing out of the ordinary. It's very common for conventionally attractive people to experience the easier way out or just tiny little conveniences in their everyday life. Let's look at some examples featuring my best friend BuzzFeed.
Among cultures where I fit into society's idea of beauty, people just give me stuff for no reason. Upgrades on flights, meals paid for, etc. In areas where my look is not considered beautiful, I have literally been denied entry into a club. There have been studies linking physical attractiveness to reduced jail time/guilty verdicts. Definitely real and something no one seems to talk about. I actually suggest searching this one up if you're interested because it's definitely interesting and a little bit disturbing.
It's true that being pretty means that you might get more benefits in social and workplace environments, but what does pretty privilege actually do to negatively impact everyone? This goes back to the mental health issue once again. Jealousy and comparison are things that all humans do. We are all judgmental creatures that base opinions on visual perceptions. We are also all creatures of greed and jealousy. It's very normal to compare yourself to other people that you might deem of higher status than you, whether it's in success or, in this case, beauty. The negative impact of beauty standards is so very real in many cases. Even I constantly feel inferior to those Instagram models or those TikTok stars. Scrolling on social media is more often than not a huge gamble to my own self-confidence. If you want to learn more about the negative impacts of beauty standards, check out my other video of beauty standards and specifically K-pop. Now, the other problem reflects on the people with pretty privilege. I know, that's crazy. But now that the word has been coined for quite a while, and more people are aware of the privilege that comes with being pretty, the people with the pretty privilege are actually receiving backlash for being pretty, which I think is kind of funny because it's so double standards. You can't be too pretty, but you can't be ugly. You can't be too skinny, but you can't be overweight. How does that work out? Anyways, these double standards are most often pushed on celebrities, but they also often reflect on ourselves as well. Celebrities are constantly put in public light, and everything they do and experience is publicized. Meaning, they gain a little weight, they get backlash. They forget to put on makeup to go to the freaking grocery store, they get backlash. But the harsh expectations that get pushed on the celebrities also have an effect on the audience. The double standards are everywhere. Okay, with all this talk about pretty privilege, we need to understand one thing. Being pretty has two factors. The first one is conforming to the beauty standard. A lot of times this could mean winning the genetic lottery, in which you are literally born into the beauty standard. Another way of fitting into a beauty standard is changing things about yourself, whether it's simply putting on makeup or going on a diet. The other factor of being pretty is the beauty standard itself. This one is actually harder to change or control because it involves the opinion of a mass population. You might be able to change one person's perception of beauty, but in the end, a beauty standard is the standard for a reason. It's what basically the entire society believes in, and everyone else grows up influenced by said society. Okay, The purpose of this video was to bring light to some of the privileges that conventionally attractive people sometimes have in hopes of educating you or maybe influencing some of the way you think. But in the end, I feel like pretty privilege is just one of those things you can't really undo for this society.
However, it's important to understand that you can positively influence the people around you by treating everyone equally, regardless of circumstance. Change always has to start somewhere, and it can start with us.